Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are inside of Affinity Publisher V2, and in today's tutorial I want to show you how you can put together and print a custom holiday card, whether that is going to be for Christmas, a birthday, Easter, or any other occasion that you can think of. And the way that we're going to do this is by using the stock library, which is built inside of Affinity Publisher, and it's just going to be a case of dragging and dropping the elements into our project. So very little design skills are going to be needed for this type of project. So if this is something you would like to learn, then let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you want to do inside of Affinity Publisher is just set up the right canvas size for your card, and a good size to use is going to be this A4. So once we go ahead and fold that in half, that is actually going to be an A5. So we'll go ahead and select that option right there. Then what I want to do is make sure that I'm inside of my press ready, as I want to work in CMYK, as that is recommended for when you print your documents. I also want to make sure that my DPI is set to 300, as that will give you the best print quality. After that, I'm going to go over to my Pages tab, and I'm just going to turn off the facing pages, as we only need the single page rather than the double spread. Then next we're going to make 2 pages down here, as one of them is going to be our cover and the other one's going to be the inside of the card, and we'll talk more about that as we're going with the tutorial. After that, we'll go into the margins tab, and some of you guys may want to set up your margins if you want to keep your content a certain area away from the edges of the paper. For me, in this project today, I want to print borderless that goes from edge to edge, so I'm not going to worry too much about setting up the margins. So with that now turned off, I'm going to go ahead and hit the create button to start the project. So here we are inside of the Affinity Publisher interface, and before we get started with our design, there's just a couple of things that we want to set up, and the first one being is our rulers. So we've got that visible here at the top as well as over on the left hand side, and the way that we would do that is by going up to our view menu on the top menu bar, going down to where it says show rulers, and go ahead and check that. And now we have our rulers visible. So what we're going to do with our rulers is we're going to head over to the left hand side. We're going to place our mouse inside of this ruler anywhere that you would like. You're going to click down on your mouse and you're going to start dragging out a guide. And what you want to do with this guide is get this into the center of the document, and that should automatically snap into place just like that. And it will turn green so you can see it in the center. Then go ahead and let go of that. So we can't see that right now. We need to go ahead and turn on our guides. So if we go back up to the view menu on the top menu bar, we're going to go down and we're going to select that show guides. And now we can see that one that we just created. And what we're going to use this for is to determine where we would fold our card in half. So what we're actually going to do is design for the right hand side and ignore the left. But creating our guide in the middle is going to ensure that we stay within the boundaries that we want to design in. So with that out of the way, what we want to do next is we want to be able to access our stock library. So if we once again go up to the top menu bar, and inside of the menu bar, we're going to go to window, and we're going to go down here towards the bottom to where it says stock, and just go ahead and select that one right there. And then we'll have this window appear just right here. What I'm going to do is just nest this over to the left hand side. So I'm going to drag this over and just let that snap there so it lights up blue. Then that will just nest inside of that panel so it keeps it neat and tidy for us. Then I'll go ahead and hit Command or Control 0 just to fit to screen with our project. Then what we want to do inside of our stock library, first of all, is we've got a couple of different options here inside of this drop down menu. We have 2 different websites, one being Pexels and one being Pixabay. So for this, we want to be using the Pixabay website, as we have this option to choose vector right here just by selecting that. This option isn't available inside of the Pexels website, so make sure that you do use Pixabay. And of course, go ahead and check that vector box right there. And for those of you guys who don't know what a vector is, it's going to be a graphic that doesn't have a background, which is going to make it a lot easier for us to start putting our design together. So what we want to do once we go ahead and select the vector option is come over to our search bar, and we're going to search for any kind of design elements that you want, depending on the kind of design that you are making, whether it's Christmas, birthday, Easter, or any kind of occasion. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to put together a Christmas card just to make something quick. So I'll go ahead and just type in Christmas. So you can see this is what's come up under Christmas. So all you really got to do now is start looking for little pieces that you want to use inside of your design. And for me, first of all, I want to find myself a background. So I'm just going to keep going through these so I can find something that I like. And the further down that you scroll through these, the more images you are going to find. There's going to be thousands upon thousands inside of here, and they're all free to use. So something that just stands out to me is either this one right here or maybe this one here as a background. I think I generally prefer this one as it's a little bit more simple. So I'll go ahead and just select that and drag and drop that into my canvas. So at the moment, this image is a little bit too big for our design. So what we're going to have to do is just zoom out a little bit using Command or Control minus. Then we can just go ahead and grab the corner of our image and just drag that in and snap that into place to anywhere you would like that to line up. And just move that over so it fits the entire canvas. Then we can zoom back in with Command or Control 0 to fit to screen. So right now we still have another issue, and that is going to be the fact that we have this image over here on the left hand side, and we actually want this to be blank. So in order to fix this, what we need to do is just head over to the left hand side toolbar menu, and we're going to select this option right here, which is a vector crop tool. So once we go ahead and we select that, all we need to do is just slightly move over to the left hand side till we can see this handle over here on the corner of our image. Then we're just going to simply click that and just drag that in on itself all the way over to that center point that we made with that guide. Then go ahead and let that snap, then just let go of that. Then that is going to fix that side of the image, making sure that remains blank. So once again, I'll go ahead and hit Command or Control 0 to fit to screen. And now we can continue with the design. So what I want to do first of all, before I continue, is just turn off this bleed, as I don't actually need this inside of this design. And it can be a little bit distracting. So if you guys are also seeing your bleed lines around the outside of your document and you want to turn that off, just go up here to the view menu on your top menu bar and just turn off that show bleed. And then that'll get rid of that for you. Okay, so moving on, I'll go ahead and just center that image again quickly, and I'll go and choose the next element that I want for my card. So having a look through here, I'm going to look for something else I can maybe put in the background, such as these trees down here. So I'll go and select those and I'll drag those over and let them go. Then that's a pretty good size already, so I don't really need to resize that. I'm just going to move them around a little bit just to position that where I'd like it to go. Somewhere around there is fine. Then I'm going to bring in something else, maybe that snowman over there on the left hand side. So I'll select and drag him in as well. Then I'll go and move him into place. Once again, I don't really need to resize him as it's a pretty good size. So I'll go ahead and leave that the way it is. Maybe just move it up a little bit. So straight away, you can see just how easy and quick this was putting this together. We've already done the background and the subject in literally no time whatsoever. So what we'll do now is continue grabbing some more pieces that we want to bring inside of here. So we'll go back over to our stock library again, and we'll just start making our way through here just to find some other parts that we may want to use. Maybe such as this present right here. With that being blue as well, it should match pretty well. So I'll go ahead and just drag and drop that in. That's a little bit too big, so I'll go and resize that with a node on the corner. And you can make that any size that you like or place it anywhere you want. This is going to be your design, so it's up to you. So what we're going to do next is bring in something that we can use at the top. Maybe just some ice or something kind of along those lines, something Christmassy. So if I go back up to the search menu, and this time round I'm going to write in ice. Then we'll go ahead and make our way through some of these images to find something that we may like to go with our design, such as this ice right here. So I'll go ahead and just drag and drop that over into the project. And once again, this is far too big, so I hit Command or Control minus just to zoom out. Then we can go ahead and just grab that and resize that and just make sure that it fits into our project. So I'll go ahead and let that snap into place. Then once I've done that, I'll go ahead and zoom back in with Command or Control 0 just to fit to screen. So that isn't looking too bad so far. And I think all we really need on this now is maybe a Merry Christmas and maybe just some text over here with either a message or a poem or something along those lines. So if we go back over to our stock library, and this time around we're going to search for Merry Christmas and see what we can find. So once again, we'll just start making our way through all of these images and see if there's anything in here that we like. And it may be a case you have to keep going through a lot of different ones of these just to find something that you are going for. Not all of these images are going to work very well, but you are definitely going to find something in here that you can use, such as maybe this reindeer one right there. So I'll go ahead and I'll drop that one on top of our image. then I'll go and resize that to the raw size I'm going for. So I'll just move it up towards the top, make that a little bit bigger, and just drag that and center that in the middle. So that isn't looking too bad. The only issue with this is the fact that it's purple, and obviously it kind of stands out on our design a little bit too much. We do have some purple here on the scarf, however, I don't really like it up here. So what I'm going to do is change the color of this. So the way that we would do that, if we just go ahead and make sure that we have this selected, if we head over to the right hand side and we go down towards the bottom to where we have our effects panel, once we go ahead and we open that up, inside of here, we want to choose this option that says color overlay. And straight away you can see, because we have this color here, black, it has now changed from that purple over to black. But I don't really want black for this design. I want to go ahead and change that to white. So I'll go ahead and just change that color. Then once I've done that, I can go and close that. And of course, you can move this around and resize that if you want to. That is entirely up to you. I will just move that down just a little bit. Then, just like I said before, we're going to make ourselves a box over here, over on the left-hand side of the image, and just put a bit of text in there, which could probably be a poem or just a message to anyone you're sending this out to. So we'll go over to the left-hand side toolbar menu, and we'll grab ourselves a shape. So I'm going to go and grab maybe that rounded rectangle. Then it's just a case of just clicking and dragging this out to the raw size that you would like. So I'm going to make that around that big, I think. Then I'll grab my move tool just while I position this to where I want it to go. And you can always resize this and make it any size that you like. Then next, I'm going to go and just change the color of this from being gray to white. So over to the right hand side, I'll just change my color wheel to being white. And I'm going to give this a border. So then I'm going to go over to my stroke, which is the back one there in black. And we'll go ahead and we'll just sample a dark blue, maybe on that present right there. Then we'll just go ahead and choose that color blue that we just sampled. And at the moment, I can't really see the stroke around this box, so we need to go and make that a little bit bigger. So with our box selected, we're going to go up to the top left-hand side to where we have our stroke option menu. Then inside of here, all you got to do is change the width to be any size that you would like. And for me, I'm just going to make this a little bit subtle, maybe go for 1 point. That's going to be perfectly fine. And what else I think I want to do is just make that just a little bit transparent so we can see a little bit of the background behind it. So going back over to my layers on the right hand side, I'm just going to change this opacity from 100% down to around 95 or 90. I'll try 90 just to see how that looks. And that don't look too bad. I'm quite happy with that, so I'll leave it at 90%. Then next, what I want to do is add a drop shadow to this just to separate it a little bit from the background. So once again, we'll go back over to the right hand side. We'll go down to the bottom to our effects panel. Then inside of here, we're going to choose the outer shadow option. Then it's just a case of changing our radius and our offset to be anything that you would like. I'm going to go for around 10 points or 10 pixels in each one of those. And maybe just turn that shadow up a little bit in the opacity. So I'm going to go up to around maybe 60% just to make that a little bit darker. And I'm quite happy with the way that looks. So what I'll do next is just add some text in here, which is going to be a poem or a message. So I head back over to the left-hand side toolbar menu and I will select my frame text tool. Then I'm just going to deselect this right here, holding down Command or Control and D just to deselect. Then I'm going to try and snap this to be the same size as the box, just in the corner right there. Then I'll drag that out just to be the rough same size. Just let that snap, just like that. Then inside of this box, what I'm going to do rather than just writing something out manually, I'm just going to put a placeholder, and I'll do that just by right clicking on my mouse. And I'm going to use that insert filler text option. That then will just fill this up with a load of nonsense. You're not going to really be able to read this. It's just used as a placeholder. So what I'm going to do with this is going to hold down Command or Control A just to select all. Then I'm going to go and change the font of this on the top left hand side and just look for something a little bit better, something kind of handwritten like that. Great vibes right there. And I'll just make that a little bit bigger in terms of the size, maybe around 16 points. And I want to come up here and center align this as well. And then what we want to do next is just make sure that this is inside of our box. So if we go ahead and grab any of these nodes around the corner of the box and we hold down Command or Control and Shift at the same time, just start dragging that in on itself. Then that will keep that perfect square box, but it will make the text a little bit smaller just to fit inside of our box. So just have that any way that you would like. That is going to be perfectly fine just for this demonstration. And of course, you can always come in here and change the color of this text to be something different. Maybe that same blue that we've got down here on the present and the border. And you guys may see that we still have this bounding box here visible around the text, as well as our guide that goes down here in the middle. If you don't want to see that anymore, just go ahead and toggle off your preview mode on the top of this menu bar right here. Then you can go ahead and see how this is going to look once you go ahead and print it. So this right here is literally 99% done. All I'd really do now to change this is just add something down here in terms of maybe saying from our family to yours. So I'll go ahead and I'll just grab my artistic text tool over on the left hand side, and I'll just type in from our family to yours. Then I'll go ahead and just select all of this text, and I'm going to change the font to be something a little bit more festive, such as this Christmas one right here. And once again, I'll go and change the color to be that same blue that we had on the other text. Then I'll just simply come and drag this into place. That's a little bit too big, so I'll just resize that and make that just as big as I want it to look. Then just move that into position and maybe just make that just a little bit bigger. And for me, that is generally now complete, and I'm really happy with the way I've designed this. But of course, you guys can go one step further than this. You can write in any random name up here for whoever you're giving this out to. So it could say to John and Mandy, for instance. You can have your own custom messages or poems inside of here. So before I go ahead and print this document and talk about all of the different settings, and I will actually print this out so you guys can see how it's going to look and how we're going to fold it, as well as add some text on the inside of the card, I just want to open up one more document real quick just to show you that it doesn't have to be a Christmas one. This could generally be anything that you would like. So we'll go ahead and just drag that guy straight out again. Then instead of going for Christmas, we can just type in maybe birthday or balloons. And just like before, we can't actually see the guide, so we'll go to the view menu and we'll just make sure that we show guide. Then we'll go ahead and find something over here on the left hand side once again, maybe that one right there. So straight away, this has pretty much made the entire card for us. So that's really simple. You just drag that out to be any size that you would like. And that can be used as our background. All we really need to do now is just find a few more elements that you may want to bring into this, such as maybe a happy birthday. So we've got one right here, so we could just drag and drop that on here as well. It's definitely too big, so we'll zoom out and just resize that. And I'm just going to quickly run through this one as we've already designed the other one, so I'm not going to do it all again. So I'll just zoom back in so I can show you just real quick that you can use all different elements and create different cards. So we can have the happy birthday there. We have some numbers here, that 5 and that 0. And as we go through these, you can see all different numbers. All we've got to do really is find the numbers that we want for the age that we are doing the card for. So just to be quick, we can just say this person's going to be maybe 37. So I'll just go ahead and make that 3 a little bit smaller. Place it under the happy birthday. Go and grab that 7 as well. Resize that one. Put it next to the 3. And just make sure you get that roughly around the same size. Then just like before, it's really a case of just dragging in anything that you would like and adding extra elements inside of here. And then writing your own custom messages. I'll just quickly move that behind that box over there, just so it's a little bit smaller. So we could just go to the other document real quick and we can copy what we've done here, just to drag that over to save us doing it again over here. So we go back to that document, we'll paste that one in. You can drag that over any way you like, just make it a little bit bigger or smaller, that's entirely up to you. And just maybe change the border of that to be red rather than blue. Same with the text, go ahead and select all of that text and just change the color to be either red or black, whatever color you'd like to go with. And then that is how quick it is just to put that birthday card together. And that really is going to be the same case of whether you're doing Easter or any kind of occasion at all. It's just a case of searching inside of this menu bar right here for any elements that you want. And it's simple as just dragging and dropping. So now we'll go back over to our Christmas card that we just created. And we'll talk about printing this. And I'll show you all the best ways of putting this together. So before we commit to printing, we want to make sure that we go back to our Pages tab. I don't have this visible at the moment, so I'm going to go up to my window and just open up my Pages tab, just so I can find all of my pages right here. And we're going to go to that second page that we created. And what we need to do here is do the exact same thing as before. I'll go ahead and just drag that Pages tab up there. Just go ahead and create our center point with our guide. Make sure that you go to view and to show guides. And then on this side now, over on the right hand side, we're just going to add any kind of text that you would like inside of your card. I'll select that frame text tool and just draw out a box or a rough size message, which I would like to put inside of the card. And because it's a demonstration, I'll just go ahead and put filler text in here. So I'll right click on my mouse and insert filler text. Then I'm going to select all of this text with Command or Control A. And I'm going to go up to the top once again and center align that just to look that little bit better. and grabbing my move tool, I'll go and put that into the center of the document. Then all I've got to do now is write into any name from any name. And of course, that is going to be to and from whoever you make this out to, as well as that's going to be a custom message inside of your card. So I'll go over to the left-hand side toolbar menu. I'll grab the artistic text tool and I'll just write in here to any name. And that's a little bit too big. So I'll grab my move tool and just resize that a little bit, and then just move that roughly where I would like it to go. And now I'm going to make a duplicated copy of this by holding down Command or Control on my keyboard while dragging with my mouse. That then will duplicate that text. So we'll bring that down towards the bottom, and inside of here we'll just edit that and we'll put from. And once again, grab your move tool and just align that however you'd like it to go. And that should do perfectly fine in terms of making the inside of our card. So now we are ready to print this, but before we go and do that, I just want to take a quick look at the design, and you can see that on both pages, page 1 and page 2, our content is on the right hand side, and this is going to be important when it comes to print. If you go ahead and you have this over on the left hand side, then what is going to happen is the inside of the card is actually going to print on the back of this image right here, and obviously that is not what you want to happen. So with that said, we'll go ahead and start the printing process. And just a quick thing that you may find handy to do is just a test print, just to make sure that you do get this right and you don't go and waste too much ink or materials. If you want to do a test print, all we're going to do is go over to the left hand side, and inside of our pages, we want to create some more pages, just another 2 pages. So we'll go OK. And then inside of page 3, we'll go and drag in a center line once again, just to make sure that snaps into place, and go and turn that guide on so we can see it. And then all you're going to do in here is just grab yourself your artistic text tool, and you can just write in front and just go and move that into position into the center of your page. Make this as big as you like, use whatever font that you would like to use. And then we'll go and make a duplicated copy of this page. So we'll right click on that one, duplicate. Then on this one, we're just going to write in inside. So if you want to print your test copy first, just to make sure that you do get this right, what we want to do is go over to our pages tab on the left hand side. We're going to select that page 3 because we're going to want this one active. So once we go up to our file menu and we go down to print, then that will open up our print dialog menu where we have all of our pages. So the first thing that I want to mention that I don't want you guys to do, because for some reason it seems to mess up the printing process, is choose this range from. If you go ahead and you put in page 1 to page 1, for instance, which is obviously our first page, that will print absolutely fine. However, if you go ahead and you write in page 2 to page 2, what could happen is it could end up printing on the opposite side of the page. And what happens there is the text is actually going to be on the back of this image here rather than the inside of the card. And I've had this happen before, as printers can be a bit unpredictable. So I want you to go ahead and just ignore that whole range from, and we're going to print these individually. And the way that we're going to do that, if we want to go and do that test page first, which is going to be the front one right there, what I want you to do is come down to where it says range, and I want you to select that current page. And then that is going to be our front cover, which, if you remember, I told you to make sure you selected page 3 right here. And now when we choose current page, that is going to select that page 3 that we have highlighted over there on the left. So what we need to do next is, depending on the kind of design that you want to do, if you want to go and print borderless, then you want to go and change your paper size to be A4 borderless. And that will go from edge to edge with your design, just the way that we designed it. Alternatively, you can go for A4, and that's going to give you a bit of a margin around your page. Or you can choose some smaller sizes, that is entirely up to you, and cut them out once you've printed them. So with that selected as A4, as I'm only doing this rough copy right here, all we got to do is go ahead and hit print. So with that front page right there now printed, all we got to do is flip the paper around the other way, and I'll show you that in just a moment with the main design. But once you've done that and you flip the page over, I want you then to select page 4, which is going to be the inside, and we're going to do the exact same thing once again with this highlighted. Go back up to your file menu, go down to print, make sure once again that you choose that current page. And now we are on the inside, and you can go ahead and print that. Then that should come out absolutely perfect. You should be able to fold this paper in half, and then one should be on the front and one should be on the inside. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and print our main design. So first of all, I'm going to go to page 1, making sure I select that over on the left hand side. Go up to my file menu, go down to print. So if any of you guys are seeing these pre-flight warnings, that could just be a warning that maybe your margins are outside of the document, or you've got some spelling mistakes. In this case, it's definitely the spelling mistakes, which is a problem here inside of our filler text, as none of this makes any sense. However, because this is a demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and ignore that as it's not important. So once again, back inside of our printer dialog window, what we need to do is go down and we're going to select from range to the current page. And now we've got our main document right there. For my design, I want to choose the A4 borderless. Then I want to go a bit further down towards the bottom to where I have my printer options. Then inside of here, I'm going to go to quality and media, because when you are creating holiday cards and you want to print them, it's a good idea to use photo card, as that's going to give you much better quality and look more professional. So inside of this plain paper window, I'm going to go down, I'm going to choose photo papers, and I'm going to go for glossy photo paper as that's a paper that I'm using. However, you guys might have matte or any of these other options inside of here. Just go ahead and choose the one that you are using. If you want the highest quality print, then go ahead and choose the different print quality to be high. For me, I'm going to leave it as standard as it's only a test print or just a demonstration for you guys to see. And standard quality is going to use a little bit less ink than it will do if I choose high. So with that all set up, I'm going to go ahead and print this one right now. So this is almost printed, and before we continue, I do want to mention that I did print a rough copy myself just to make sure that the front and the inside printed correctly, so I wasn't using any additional ink or materials. It's always a good idea just to do that first. So looking at our design, you can see it looks really good on our photo paper, and if we pay attention to the way that it's printed, the design itself printed at the top of the page. So what we actually need to do now is rotate this around the other way so the image is at the bottom of the page. Then we're going to flip the page over to the other side, so then the text is going to print at the top of the other side of the page. So then we'll have the image on the one side and the text on the other. So if we pick this up and put it back inside of the printer, and now we'll go ahead and print page 2, and then we'll see what we get. So as you can see, if we take this out now, we have our text on the inside of the card on the right hand side of the page. And once we flip this over, our image is also on the right hand side of the page. So all we've got to do now is just fold this in half, and I'll show you how easily we can do this. Okay, so what we have here is a Score Easy board, which I bought off Amazon. And this is going to make our life a lot easier when we come to make a crease down the center of our card. It's going to make it easy to find the center with these ruler lines that we have at the top here. So all we got to do is get our card and we lay that down flat. And with this being an A4, it's really easy to find the center point. It's going to be with that star symbol that we have right here. And we have a few different symbols for different size cards just to make that easier to find the center of them. But all we really need to do is go ahead and find our star center crease, and we'll just make our way down and we'll just score that all the way down to the bottom. And you may want to do this a couple of times just to make sure that you get a really good crease in that. But once we've gone and scored that just a couple of times, we can now see what we've got and how good this looks. So you can see just how straight and perfect that line is, and all we've got to do now is bend this in half and just push down on that crease just to make that perfect. And just slide your fingers across just to make sure you get that as tight as possible. And then that is our card complete. And as you can see, that looks really good. So you can see that this has come out absolutely perfect in the way that we designed it. We have the text on the inside and we have the image on the outside. So this is how you would find it if you was to buy it from a store. And I'll leave a link in the description for anybody interested in the Score Easy board. So there it is. That is our card printed, and you can see just how professional this looks when you print it on photo card, as well as score that down the center with a scoring board just to make that look perfect. So if you guys want to go and sell these as a business, for instance, you are going to be limited to the amount of stock images that we have inside of the free library. However, if you do want high quality images that have been created by professionals, then I recommend using Canva, as you're going to have thousands of different images inside of here, depending on the subject. Once again, I'll just put in Christmas here like I did before. But these are going to be a lot higher quality, and you can go ahead and make these as big or as small as you like without losing any of the quality. And they're all going to be transparent backgrounds. And you're definitely going to have a lot more design choice in here, so you can choose from graphics to photos, which is going to find as a background for these cards. And of course, I still recommend printing inside of Affinity Publisher. Even if you do use Canva, just go ahead and design inside of Canva with your A5 size rather than this A4 right here. Go ahead and just save that to your computer, import that into Affinity Publisher, and just set it up the way I showed you in this video just to make sure that it prints correctly. But if you guys do want to go ahead and give Canva a try, then I will leave a link in the description for a free trial. And then you can check out all of the different elements that we have inside of Canva and see what you can come up with. So that is it for today's video. I hope you found it useful and I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one.